Thanks for tuning in to another show in the Next Reel family of film podcasts.
Want to skip those ads and get early access?
Become a member at TruStory.fm/join and discover all the other great perks that come with it.
I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to the Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Talk to me is over. You have the tiniest hands. Oh, well, man, sometimes you pick a line and you think it's going to play and it doesn't play as well.
Who says that and who has the tiniest hands? I don't even remember that line.
No, it was the conversation between when they were in the pull-out bed when the kid comes in and gets in bed with her. Did the hand thing scare you? That conversation.
I gotcha.
Something like that. We're talking about Talk to Me, the Philippou brothers, and I was looking for my review in Letterboxd, and I'll just say one of the reviews really frames it the way I think we should frame it, which is, this was so scary, I'm glad Australian people aren't real.
Is that your review?
No, that's not my review, but I do think it's a good framing piece for this conversation. What is going on in Australia? Because then I watched this Bring Her Back, and that's just even worse. There's deeply unsettling ideas in this movie. What did you think? What did you think of Talk to Me? This was definitely not the first time you've seen it.
No. I've seen it a number of times. I really enjoy it. I am excited by what the Philippou brothers have been doing. Honestly, I say that I am not somebody who had been familiar with them in their Raka Raka YouTube world. So I'm a little out of touch as far as like how they actually got started and created their careers. But once they started with their films, starting with Talk to Me, I've just been very excited because they feel like some new, unique voices in the world of horror as far as, the two films that they've made now. And I mean, this is a film I really enjoy. I love the journey the characters go on, the fact that it is a story about grief and addiction and, peer pressure. Like, you're seeing a lot of things that people will go through in high school. You're seeing things that people go through when they're dealing with the death of a loved one. And I think they handle that blend of the horror with kind of the human side of the story incredibly well. So,
yeah, hey, this is part of we're throwing this in as a part of our horror series, right?
Horror debuts.
You're
the one who picked it.
I did. Congratulations, me. I'm doing great.
And I had a question for you for that, because I'm just curious. And this is the end of our season, adding on one new episode to the Horror Debuts series, which we did a few years ago. Every prior entry, when we first did that, had been directed by a woman or a directing pair, one of which was a woman. This is the first all-male directing duo in this series. And I guess I'm curious from your perspective, if you have any sense, it's a story about primarily our protagonist is a female. Does it feel like, is this a film where we feel like, oh, it should have been a woman directing this? Does it feel like we're suffering with the whole male gaze thing by telling this story through the eyes of two men, as opposed to, female directors?
I don't think so. I don't think this is that kind of movie. I think they made. I don't think there's that much of a male gaze going on in this movie. Do you? Did I miss a big angle?
I don't think so either. I was just curious, specifically just because of what the series had been up until this point.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, but I also think that largely the way that these two male filmmakers tell the story is that they find a way to center it on the grief, the self-destruction, without ever feeling like they're turning it into something male gazy, as far as, I mean, even in the moments that are, I guess you would say, more intimate between characters, it's not really ever about sexual tension or anything like that, right? It's the only tension, really, the only moment that we have of sexual tension in the film turns into horror as we have this ghost that is sucking on Daniel's feet, as it turns out, not
Yes.
Mia.
Yeah. No, things are. I think you're right, and that doesn't feel really male gazy to me. The foot sucking. Maybe for some it is. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
they've actually created. I mean, the movie is so really dedicated to the meta discussion of coming of age, of agency, of kids doing the things they want to do when they want to do them, the way they want to do them, and the conflict that exists between parents and children and what parents want of their kids and count on their kids for, and count on and developing responsibilities. And I think Mia's story of not just that agency angle, but coming to continued grips with the death of her mom, living with her dad, trying to figure out what their way forward is, and really counting on Jade's family, Jade and Riley and their mom, as kind of an island for her grief, is really the important message. It doesn't really end up being so much a story about, using sexuality as a kind of a language of coming of age in this movie. It's too busy doing other stuff, is what I'm trying to say.
It's not It Follows or something.
Right. So, premise, have you ever grabbed the cursed hand?
No, it was never at any parties that I attended.
Well, I mean, this is probably later. The death of the psychic happened much after you were at those parties. Just as an aside, was there ever a cursed object at any of the parties that you attended?
I feel like, I don't know, did I just go to all the wrong parties? Should I have gone to more parties that ended up having cursed objects? Or is that a win or a loss? Like, I don't know, which side do I fall on here?
I also had no cursed parties. I think there was one point when I was very young that they tried to make me go in the bathroom and say the thing Bloody Mary in the mirror, and I probably didn't do it. I don't remember. Maybe I just blacked out and actually saw dead people. But that's the idea behind this movie. We have a cursed hand, the hand of a gypsy psychic or something that is inside the crusty clay exterior, and when you hold the hand and say, "Talk to me, I let you in," it lets the spirit of the dead into you, and you see the dead people. And I think the premise of the movie is pretty straightforward. This is one of those movies that I think is playing the hits very, very well, right? The cycle is, you let the dead in, you have the conversation with the dead, and then you are confronting things about yourself along the way. Things go haywire, and at the end, it has a very grim ending. So the movie is playing the hits, but it's doing it in exactly what I would say the perfect way, because the journey that these kids go on and the way the movie ends and loops back in on itself is the novelty that makes the movie worth watching multiple times. And I think Mia's story and the performance is one that is truly magnetic, and I just love watching these kids go through this stuff. I think it works very, very, very well.
That's sick of you to say it that way.
I like watching children suffer. Thought you knew that about me by now.
It's a lesson learned, right? Yeah, I mean, the performances are fantastic. I think they go down this really dark road of exploring Mia and her grief. They deal well with the idea of the inability for people to always talk to each other. Like, we have this issue between Mia and her dad. They're not talking. They're not communicating right now. It's been almost by the time we are starting, it has been a year since the death of her mother, her dad's wife. And clearly, as it seems, like they have had a very difficult time having any sense of communication since. And we finally get a moment in the film where he sits down with her and says, "I'm sorry, I have been withholding all this time the fact that your mother left a suicide note." And what that has done is it has created in Mia's head the possibility that it had been an accident, right? Like, she knows it could have been suicide, but she also thinks, ideally in her head, maybe it was just an accident. She wouldn't have killed herself. in the script, they use that as an opportunity to play on how these ghosts feed on people and their doubts and everything. And here's a question that I think is a genuinely valid question in the scope of the film. Her mother, I think her mother's name is Rhea, appears and has a number of conversations with her. Do you believe that is the spirit of her mother?
Yeah, I think you just asked one of the several, I think, open questions that I don't believe the Philippous want us to have a clear answer to. I do think it's her mother, and I base that on our experience of the end of the movie, because the end of the movie is the loop where she dies, Mia dies, and comes back as one of the spirits that's being called to talk to another kid in another party. And that consistency that changes POV, and we go from Mia being a victim to Mia being called into action as the spirit, is what leads me to believe that everything that Mia saw was when she was talking to me, it's very hard to talk about, was an accurate representation of the world that she was living in at that point.
And I guess that's the question is, obviously, some of these spirits, maybe not all of them, but certainly a handful of them, seem to take a turn toward evil things. I don't know if the spirits themselves are becoming possessed by demons, if it's just time that they spend back, I guess we'll just say, in the land of the living that twists them and turns them into down darker paths. I don't know. But that very first time that Rhea appears and is talking to Mia through Riley, she stays in his body longer than the prescribed 90 seconds. Then they're supposed to, disconnect the hand from the statue and blow the candle out. It takes well over 2 minutes before they're able to do that, and they don't blow the candle out. So, key problem. Does that cause Rhea to go evil and start pushing? Because by the time, and again, this is heavy spoilers for people who haven't seen it. You shouldn't have been listening this far in the first place. Definitely watch the movie first. But by the time we get to that point at the end where Mom is guiding Mia as she's taking Riley, right? She's kidnapped Riley from the hospital and ready to throw him onto a freeway. And Mom says to Mia, as again she's guiding her, she says, "We'll have him forever."
Right. That's the trick. I don't think it's not just Rhea in Riley, right? Because they took too long. I think Riley lets in multiple of the dead, and one of them is a face smashing one, right? And
yeah, one of them is a complete crazy.
Yeah, I don't think Rhea is herself spiritually doing the worst of the worst stuff. I think it's the others.
No, but she's the one who's there telling her at the end to do this, right? Like we see her with her hand on Mia's shoulder by the side of the freeway, like guiding her along. So has she just been twisted? Was her spirit evil all along? Like that's like where, like, or do spirits just go bad when they enter the land of the dead?
Or they just curse. It is a curse that they are there, right? Or and is it really? That's so interesting. So Mia at the end kidnaps Riley from the hospital.
Yeah.
Jade sees Mia pushing Riley in the wheelchair, right, down to the highway.
Yeah.
Rhea you're right. Rhea is the one who's urging Mia to push Riley into traffic.
Yeah, she's guiding her along, right.
And then we see that it's Mia that falls into the road and is struck and killed. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What is Rhea's motivation? And because Rhea is doing some nonsense stuff, especially in the engagement with Max and Riley and Mia and Rhea, like saying he's lying, that somehow he was complicit in her death. Did you have any, so speaking of potential untruths, did you have any doubt that it was suicide? Did you think at any point, that Max was complicit in her death, in Ria's death?
I didn't think that. I thought that it boiled down to that letter that he finally reads. And I was like, okay, that's the proof that mom did kill herself. But he, in his parental thinking during a very dark time for himself, decided I need to protect my daughter and not let her know that mom killed herself. Not let her know that she went down this dark path, which again twists Mia into thinking, well, it could have been an accident. And that lets the ghosts, these spirits, twist Mia and I mean, including Ria when she's talking to in that scene where Max is there and Ria's like, no, he's lying. It's all, like I didn't do any of it. Yeah, I think that it was fully a suicidal instance, and I think that the spirits are using it as an opportunity now that they've spent enough time in Mia to be able to twist her. They are constantly twisting the facts and using whatever they need as far as how they can get to her to essentially get her to do the things they want her to do.
I think all of Ria's motivation is wrapped up in the fact that we agree that she killed herself. She was already in a place of being damaged and sort of cursed as a living, and then she kills herself and she is only that much more damaged. And I think that's the piece that makes her. So I believe she is real. I believe it's her taking part in some of the worst of the worst and getting progressively worse, but doing it with the language of love. And I honestly, I think bring her back actually is another sort of data point. It's more evidence that these guys are making movies about mother trauma, right? And this is very much a part of that, and that she is damaged. She had a damaged relationship with her daughter. She took her own life, and this is the curse that she's living under, and is motivated. It motivates her relationship with Mia, in the afterlife.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I'm so torn because sometimes I think that can't actually be mom. Like that can't be mom's spirit doing all of this. And sometimes I'm like, is it a malevolent spirit disguising itself as mom because it knows how easy Mia is to manipulate by posing as mom?
But what evidence do we have in the film that is something that they do?
Just the fact that mom is telling her to do these things. Like that seems so contrary to what a mother figure would do that it seems much more in line with all of the evil spirits that we see that are tormenting Riley when the spirit lets Mia in so that Mia can see what's actually happening with Riley. And it's like this freaky demon orgy where they're all like ripping his body apart and everything. And I just feel like mom, whatever she is, seems much more in line with the demonic cursed sort of spirits that we're watching there rather than the actual mother.
See, I guess I see those as both being true at the same time. That it's mother in a cursed state, right? Like she's not well.
Yeah,
she's definitely not well. What got her there is not.
No, she's very pussy.
Oh dear,
they're rather gross.
Yeah, they're very pussy, swole.
Because many of the spirits who end up taking over bodies don't seem malicious, right? They seem confused. And this is in that 90-second window where they let them in and it becomes the party trick where they're like all asking questions and they're watching these people they have Daniel making out with the dog on the floor, right? They've got these things that essentially are party tricks. But it doesn't seem to really twist until after somebody has been in your body for more than 90 seconds and it allows, well, I shouldn't say that. Most of the time it seems like, until they've been in you too long. And it gives them, I think they say that something even toward the beginning, like the longer, if they stay more than 90 seconds, they're going to want to stay. They're not going to want to leave. And maybe that's the curse that these demons have, is they're now drawn to that, the source of life, and want to kind of continue pursuing it.
Look, you're a demon. Just walk with me here. You're a demon. Guided meditation. Right now, you're recently dead. Somebody says, talk to me. You hear the voice in the void, in the blackness. Somebody says, talk to me. And now you're back and you're in the body of somebody who is super fit with great knees. Are you going to really want to give that up in 90 seconds? I don't think so. Yeah, that's a curse. I think you're going to fight to stay in that young hunk. That just made a clip, didn't it?
Yeah. But here's the thing. It doesn't seem like they get to stay. I don't know. I guess you're like, what are they actually wanting?
To live forever?
But are they wanting to stay in the body? Because with Riley, they don't. With Riley, they seem to pull his spirit into their world so that they can feast on his living soul. It's kind of, I don't know, that kind of is the depiction.
But maybe they're taking the soul away so that one of them can take over like a puppet, like a puppeteer. Take Riley out so they can move in.
Do you think at the end, when we see that Riley's okay, it's actually one of these other demons?
I didn't before this conversation, but now?
I guess the bottom line is, it's a little unclear as to how this world works. But
is that a criticism? Like, is that a criticism to the point where you're downgrading it?
No, no, not at all. But I do think it lets you ask a lot of questions of it. And I think smartly, I mean, there is a story of how the brothers were, when they were initially trying to get funding for this, I believe it was a Hollywood studio that they were talking to, who said that, we'll fund the movie, we'll release the movie and all this, but you need to give us a better backstory for this hand so that we can so audiences will understand what's actually happening. And they're like, nope, peace out. We're going to go find another way to make this movie. And I think that speaks to how many studios and people approach these sorts of stories. It's like, we want to make sure that people understand this. And I think what they smartly figure out is, we don't want people to understand it. There's not really a clear way that it's put together. So we're just going to make it really haunting by doing it this way. And in the end, I think it works better that they told it this way.
Yeah, I mean, the kids who are doing it sure as hell don't understand it. They're just trying to stay alive, trying to stay whole. And I do think having a lot of these questions be the kinds of questions that we can't answer allows us to focus on what the movie is really saying, which is, let's look at how these broken people are dealing with their grief, and let's go ahead and use, the language of horror to be the metaphor for things that are much harder to talk about. And I for one am down for those conversations. And I think any of the mechanics that try to describe why these, specific paranormal events are happening, they're just going to go over your head anyway. They're just nonsense. And what we're looking at is a very troubled young woman who is trying to reconcile the fact that her mother took her own life, and wonder, did she have any part in the motivation that her mother took her life? Does she have to live with that kind of guilt and shame? And, what's her relationship with her dad going to be like? And is she going to be able to keep her best friend because of what happened to her best friend's little brother? And, how is she going to get on in the world after this? That's the nuclear emotional bomb that this movie sets off. And how the hand works and why the spirits do what they do does not matter at all.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but first, you can find the show on YouTube, and you can join us live when we record. We'll even take your questions in the post-show chit-chat, and members get the full post-show conversation and always know what to listen to next. Subscribe to The Next Reel on YouTube. The link to this episode is in the show notes.
You know what the next real family of film shows actually is? It's not just shows you keep up with. It's a place you come back to.
The Next Reel's film-by-film conversations, CinemaScope's deep dives into movements and genres, the film board on whatever's in theaters, Movies We Like's craft conversations, Sitting in the Dark's horror breakdowns. It's all here, waiting.
If that sounds like how you already spend your time browsing, discovering, going back to something you bookmarked months ago, consider becoming a member.
For $5 a month or $55 a year, you get early ad-free access to all 5 shows a full week before they go public, plus exclusive bonus content that doesn't live anywhere else.
Think of it as your library card. Head to TruStory.fm/join. That's TRUSTORY.fm/join. And sign up today.
The Next Reel family of film shows. The conversation is already here. Come find your next film. I want to ask you a question about the ending. Can I ask a specific question about how we should read the ending?
Sure.
Because in the scope of the film, this is something that I do struggle with, and I am never quite sure if this is one of the issues that becomes one of the things that makes it harder for me to rate higher. Who gets off the easiest at the ending? You know, the way that we see the ending, it's a little ambiguous how Mia ends up in the road. Does she throw herself into the road? I don't think it's Mom. Probably not Jade. Is Riley in some capacity conscious for a second and does it? I think it's just Mia. But if Mia is the character who I guess we'll say is our change character in the story, is it kind of too late in the story to have our change character actually make a change? And then, of course, it leads to death anyway. And the other question is there some reason that it changes the outcome in the story? Or does this feel like a little bit of a filmmaker cheat? Why, by throwing herself into the road and killing herself, does suddenly that release Riley from the demons holding him? Right? Like, I don't know if I understand exactly how that works or why it plays that way, you know? Like, does it make sense to you?
No. No, it does not, because I've watched the movie. I think this was the 3rd time I've seen this movie, and I've never actually looked at it from that perspective, from Riley's perspective, because I'm kind of infatuated with Mia as a change character, getting her last act of change being not to do what her mother is asking, right? Like she spent the whole movie chasing around the spirit of her mother to build, presumably, the relationship she didn't get to have when her mother was alive, and then running from these spirits and trying to fix Riley and all that stuff. And at the very end, as gruesome as it is, she does not do the last thing. She does not throw Riley in front. Instead, she throws herself in front of the truck. She loses her life, and I just forget about Riley. Because I think hers is a last act of kind of bravery, and then then she resurfaces and discovers the other side of this whole spiritual exchange. And how does Riley get liberated? I can't answer that question. I don't know. Why is that liberating? Was this an effort for her mom, the spirit of her mom, to take over Riley as the easiest way to get in, to just kill Riley once and for all? And then when Mia kills herself, she becomes the vessel? No. Was her, oh man. What? Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it. Everything I say is just going to tie me in more knots. It's going to get really ugly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have a hypothesis here?
I don't. And that's honestly one of my struggles with the film is like, I feel like by ending the film the way they do with Mia, I mean, honestly, I love the ending. I love how we end up following Mia through kind of the spirit realm, returning to the hospital to see, okay, Riley, it's been clearly a passage of time has happened because Riley is better and talking about, oh my God, I'm so behind in my classes and all that. her dad apparently didn't die, and he is in the hospital, and he's hopping in an elevator to leave. She doesn't get to leave. And then, as you said, she goes down the dark path leading to she is now on the receiving end of the hand at a party. And I just feel like by ending it that way, it's great to follow Mia and see exactly what's happening here. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but how does that resolve the story? And I just don't know if I understand why suddenly it's okay, And I guess I don't know. It ends up being a struggle I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Riley's just fine. That's crazy. I've never thought about that. Little embarrassed. Never noticed Riley was fine.
But again, I mean, you see when she goes into the hospital, you see he's fine, right?
Oh, yeah, but I just never thought, like, why is he fine?
Like, how did that happen?
How did that happen?
Yeah, right. The only thing I can think of is that in some capacity, Mia is actually the one who is more connected to the spirits than Riley is. And by ending her life, they don't have that connection to kind of keep coming back to where Riley is trapped. But I don't know. I struggle with that.
But Riley was the one who didn't get the candle blown out. Like, Riley's the one whose door is open.
Right. So I just don't know if it makes that much sense to me. And I struggle with that a bit as a story element. So
again, one of those questions that's on the list of questions we don't get to know the answer to.
Yeah.
It's one of the lesser satisfying unknowables. This one I do kind of want to know.
I because it ends up being my biggest struggle with the film. I feel like it's maybe an easy way out for the filmmakers to just give us the ending that they wanted with Mia, but we kind of skirt the realities of what happened with Riley. So
yeah, exactly.
What do you think of the kangaroo and how metaphorically it perhaps ties into the story? We have a scene early in the film when Mia she'd picked up Riley and is driving him home, and they find a dying kangaroo in the middle of the road. She has all intentions of killing the kangaroo, but can't. She stops, can't put it out of its misery, and leaves it dying in the road as they drive away.
Well, it was sad. Sad for the kangaroo. I'm a sucker for kangaroos. Yeah, I mean, so it's one of those that's not the. It's not the. I don't know if the movie is trying to tell me that because she is dealing with this kangaroo problem, that there is a parallel between what she's dealing with Riley, right? Like at the end of the movie, are we to believe that because she couldn't put she would have rather killed herself than kill the kangaroo out of mercy? Right? She didn't, and that's why she can't kill Riley. Do you think that's a perspective we should be taking?
Well, I do. I mean, this is another thing the Philippou brothers won't talk about. They say, "Oh, it means something, but we're not going to tell you." Yeah, the kangaroos are creatures of action and forward motion, and by not being able to put it out of its misery, Mia goes to show that she is a creature of inaction, right? She's just kind of letting things stay as they are and suffering because of it, I suppose you could say. She also, I don't know, is she trying to put Riley out of his misery? I don't know. But regardless, I think that there is an element of her inability to kind of move through her grief in a healthy way. And I do think that there is a mirrored shot at the end of the film when we see her dead on the road that mirrors the shot of the kangaroo on the road. And so I do think that there is an intention of us seeing the connection between the kangaroo and her as far as, a creature that is in misery and needs to be, released.
Right. Right. That it's almost more of a statement of inevitability than anything else. Like two points meet at the right time and the right place, and both of those points happen to be kangaroo and car, and Mia and truck. Right? Like there is a sense of inevitability in the cycle of life and death that the movie is putting forward. This is what happens when you find yourself locked in a pattern of grief stasis. And you said it, like she can't move through her own grief healthily. This movie is entirely about not moving through, your own grief healthily. And ultimately, her act of big change is losing her life as a result of it. That's not a healthy model of dealing with grief.
Yeah.
But I didn't think much of the kangaroo.
Well,
in terms of a mental model of kangaroo.
I mean, it shows up at the hospital, right? So I feel like there's definitely something.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It comes back. It does come back to the hospital. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. She's an interesting character, Mia, because in many ways, she does a lot of things through the course of the story that make her not likable. And if it wasn't for the fact that she's only doing it because of the grief that she's going through, she is a pretty antagonistic character, right? Like she's kind of pushing people into doing things. Like she's very much the peer pressure model that we see. Like Riley wants to do this, his sister says no, and Mia's the one who's like, it's fine. We'll just, instead of 90 seconds, we'll do 60 seconds. And then, she's constantly like pushing and pushing and pushing. Same thing with Daniel when he is driving her home. She's just like, I can't be alone tonight. Like the whole thing, like she is her own nemesis, right? She is the problem that we see. And it's interesting because we only really like her because of the grief that she's going through and because she's struggling.
Because we feel sorry for her.
Yeah. It's an interesting way to make your protagonist.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because I like watching her process, right? I like watching her get herself into trouble because after every one of these things, she's taught a valuable lesson. When Jade's mother hauls into her in the hallway of the hospital, that is a very satisfying sequence because Mia deserves all of it. She deserves all of it. She is at the root of this maladaptive behavior and its impact on others. That's her lesson, right? Is that she has an outsized sort of gravitational pull thanks to what she is going through, and she's not dealing with it in a healthy way. I think that's cool. I think it's cool to watch her process. And I feel sorry for her. They nail it.
And I think, honestly, in many ways, there's a benefit to having your protagonist like this in a horror film, especially when they end up not getting a positive resolution by the end of the story. Like it works really well in the scope of how they integrate Mia's journey into horror. And it becomes a dark journey as we watch her go further and further down this slippery slope to the point where she ends up, essentially, let's just say how everyone else viewing this is seeing it. She goes down this dark journey until she finally kills herself just like her mother. That's really what these other people are going to be saying and seeing.
That's right. You're right. That's the outside perspective. Isn't this sad that this is two generations of people not able to...
Nearly killed her father. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about the prop, about the hand itself?
Yeah.
What'd you think of the actual hand? I think what's interesting, the design of the hand, the graffiti on the hand. I think it's more than just the what was the show? Was it Friday the 13th about or Warehouse 13 or one of the shows that's just looking for cursed objects? The hand kind of fits in the warehouse, and its design is doing interesting work for the film. How's the hand hit you as a cursed prop?
I actually really love it. I think it's exactly the sort of thing that you would see in Ed and Lorraine Warren's room that they have locked up of all their creepy objects that they've found over the years. Right? It's exactly that sort of thing. What I kind of love about the mythology of the hand is that apparently they hired an artist to make this hand, and just the bend in the hand, everything about it is just really kind of creepy, and it just makes it that much more disturbing. They hired this artist to make it, and as soon as they finished it and delivered it, they quit and like walked away, and they wouldn't say why. And I was just like,
Wow.
okay, that adds to the mythology of this crazy, creepy hand, because that just makes it all the more dark and disturbing. So, yeah, I love that. And then they made like, I think 6 copies of it just in case. They assumed that at some point in the course of the production that they would break one, and they never did. So they ended up using the same one creepy hand for the duration.
And now they're left with 6 creepy hands that are sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
6.
Yeah. It's in a way, probably Ed and Lorraine's place. I think the graffiti is doing some interesting kind of work for the photography. Like it looks so good and so haunted. It makes a great hero object for the posters, right? Like you see that first poster of the hand kind of pointed off gently towards you, but inviting you. And I knew I wanted to see that movie. And I think it looks like a real human hand of a dead person, even though it's plastered. It looks like it's that just the perfect tone and color. And I've frozen the thing. I've looked at in the film. I just looking at the, I don't know, hieroglyphics of the graffiti on the film, or on the hand. It implies such a journey that this thing has been on to get to our characters who introduce it to us. What is it, Joss and what's her name, Bailey?
I believe it's what's their name, but yes.
What's their name? Yeah. Like you can sort of read the story of the movie on the hand. And I think that's a really neat artifact from this thing.
In a movie like this, you need that, right? Like you have to have the thing that really works. And they found the perfect thing that, like you said, it just visually, it fits always. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's more than just a cursed book, a leather-bound book. This hand has story in a way that a cursed book does not, weirdly enough. Like it's the perfect mystery fetish item. And speaking of the rest of the effects, let's see, Rebecca Barato, Paul Caddy, and Nick Nicolau on Best Hair and Makeup won a great award for Best Hair and Makeup, the ACTA, and it is mostly that headbanging sequence. That headbanging Riley sequence is messed up. It is just so visceral, so brutal, so damaged, and so real. It is practically real. It's what I would believe I would see if I were standing in the room.
Yeah. And it's horrifying. And then when you see him in the hospital with the kind of physical effect makeup work that they did on him, actually in the scene too, the physical effect workup that they put on his face to have him start pulling his own eyeball out, like that was a physical thing that they had put together. It's like some really disturbing stuff that they captured. And again, the Philippou brothers, their YouTube world, they had already shown that they have a good handle on how to integrate digital visual effects with their footage, physical effects, all of that to kind of craft this world. Something that totally tricked me when I watched this is, again, how they are blending practical and digital so seamlessly. When the dog is kissing Daniel and Daniel's laying on the floor, that is 2 different things cut together. So you've got Daniel kissing a puppet, and then you have the dog licking an ice cream cone. And like, it's not something that I have been able to like parse, that it's 2 separate things. It just looks so good. It's seamless.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That is crazy. I mean, you don't see any of the ice cream at all. They got rid of all the ice cream.
There's no ice cream at all. Right.
That dog would be a mess of ice cream.
So I think that speaks again to these sharp filmmakers who had YouTube as their playground and just kind of were coming up with things. And really kind of created their look, their style, everything before they even were jumping into feature films. And I think that's a smart way to go these days.
I just went back on this ice cream thing. Why didn't they let him lick an ice cream? That seems like you're about to do this grotesque thing with this dog, but we're going to make it at least pleasant for you. Here's some mint chocolate chip. Go to town. I want you to make out with this mint chocolate chip. They should have let him do that. Why does the dog get all that?
The questions that you ask. I'm going to write a sternly worded letter.
You should
Get to the bottom of this.
This should be part of production code somewhere. If you're going to make somebody French kiss a dog and you're going to key it with a double, it better be ice cream.
It better be ice cream. Yeah.
All right.
Everything should just be ice cream. Anytime you're doing anything in an interactive way on film that's going to get removed,
yes,
just make it ice cream. Everyone's going to be so much happier.
Let people enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Well, to the YouTube end of things, though, what do you think of this new generation of filmmakers like the Philippou brothers? You've got, we're in a world of horror right now with Iron Lung, Obsession, Backrooms, all the rage as far as like what these YouTube filmmakers are delivering to the box office and showing that they can take the box office by storm. And then you go back even further to things not necessarily horror, but like Bo Burnham with 8th Grade, things like that. Like these people are proving themselves in this space before they even step out into making these films. I mean, what does that say as far as kind of like the YouTube sensibility? Is it just like, are they popular because they already have built-in audiences? Like, how is this going to be different? Do you see any sense as to why this is a positive shift, or do you see it as a positive shift for the industry?
Well, I see it as a positive shift for filmmaking, for sure. I think that, anytime you get an opportunity to reduce gatekeeping, right, in this process allows more messages to be told, more films to be made, more books to be written, more and consumed by people, where you don't have these traditional gatekeepers, and it allows sort of a training bed for figuring out how to tell stories. And I think that's one of the great benefits of YouTube and Vimeo and people who are picking up cameras and making movies in their backyards and beyond. The trouble is going to be figuring out how studios continue to relate to and allow authenticity through this new sort of class of filmmakers. I shouldn't say new, this sort of class of young filmmakers who are pushing aside the gatekeeping and just doing it themselves. The more of that, the better, I think. And what we have in studios that are adapting to these young filmmakers is stories that are really interesting. Of course, I still haven't seen Obsession or Backrooms, Andy. I went to see Masters of the Universe. I'm fundamentally broken, but I do say on the other side of that, I'll say it again, I haven't seen Backrooms and Obsession, and I'm going to see a Steven Spielberg movie this weekend. I think that's interesting. If I didn't have to do it for a show, I would prefer to go see Obsession and Backrooms this weekend, but I'm instead doing Disclosure Day. That says something to me that I think my interest is tuning toward these young, agile filmmakers at a time when, the guys who made the box office as I know it in my life are of actually less interest to me right now.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what the projections are for Disclosure Day, but I went and looked to buy some tickets ahead of time, and there were so many open seats in all of the different screenings I was looking at. I'm like, well, I guess I can just wait till I get to the box office to buy my tickets to skip the processing fees, because why bother buying ahead? I don't know. I mean, that might be speaking to the fact that, Spielberg as an older filmmaker may be something that isn't appealing so much to younger audiences right now.
Yeah, I mean,
even if Disclosure Day is an original story.
Yes. Yeah. But it's projected at like what, 35, 38, and I'm kind of tempted to take the under, for opening weekend. Will it end up doing well? Probably, but it doesn't have any of the major box office stars Emily Blunt is great, but it doesn't have the major box office stars, and it doesn't have any of this young artists YouTube pull. These people have audiences already. The studios are going to increasingly need to make the case that they have the resources to woo that audience, because these young filmmakers are not going to need them to the same degree that they have. This is sort of the sea change that the last 20 years has wrought, and it's fun to see because these movies are doing so well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well these filmmakers do as they continue, and if they do as well, if they step out of horror into other genres. Like, is their success because of the genre, or is it just because of the work that they do?
Yeah, well, again, Eighth Grade was a transcendent film. It was a great, great film from a YouTuber who's a fantastic storyteller.
I just don't think it was quite at the success level.
No,
as these horror films.
No, but it does demonstrate a capability. Like, great stories come from all kinds of places, and right now we're getting them from small screens, and that's pretty great.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how all of this shakes out. I'm very curious to see where things go from here with these filmmakers, because at least with the Philippous, we have had the chance to see where they can go. With Bring Her Back, which is equally disturbing.
Oh God,
I am curious to see where Cooper and Markiplier and Kane go from here.
For sure.
Any last thoughts with this one?
It's a great movie. I really enjoy my time with it, and I strongly encourage people to watch these as a double feature. Talk to me and Bring Her Back. If you just want just one hell of an evening.
If you want a double whammy of grief. Yeah, right. My gosh. I will just say as a last thing, Sophie Wilde, who plays Mia, and Joe Bird, who plays Riley, are both just fantastic in the film. They both deliver just excellent, excellent performances. I mean, solid performances all around, but those two in particular, I think, for me, were the standout performances.
Oh, it was and fun. I've just a shout out to Miranda Otto, who probably had a day on the shoot and was awesome. Comes in and just I think she was fantastic. It was really neat to see her in this little movie. My goodness, it was great.
Yeah, she does great. All right, well, let's move into the back half, but first, let's take a quick break.
The Next Reel is a production of TruStory FM, engineering by Andy Nelson, music by Tabutan, Tillman Siliscu, Oriole Novella, and Eli Catlett. Andy usually finds all the stats for the awards and numbers at the-numbers.com, boxofficemojo.com, imdb.com, and wikipedia.org. Find the show and the full archive at trustory.fm. You can follow us from there too. Plus, you can find out how to become a member and go further with every episode. Check out our merch store at thenextreel.com/merch, and if your app allows ratings and reviews, please consider doing that for our show. Okay. Sequels and remakes, what? Is there, what? There's more?
There are more. Indeed. In fact, what strikes me as crazy, August 2023, the Philippou brothers said they already finished shooting a prequel short film, which explored Duckett's backstory, which led to the intro in the movie that we see. Apparently, the production was completed consecutively with this film, and they shot it in the screen life storytelling style, all through mobile phones, social media, and everything. They said they intend to release the project in the future. Apparently, some of the footage ended up getting used in the Talk to Me marketing. They ended up getting removed from the internet due to complaints and concerns about their content, which makes me really curious to see exactly, how dark they went there. All we know at this point is they said the sequences will be officially released at a future date. I have no idea when or what the plans are, but apparently it is sitting out there waiting to get released. As for the sequel, that same month, August 2023, they confirmed the plans to do a sequel with A24 called Talk to Me, with the talk, the number 2, me. Terrible. I hate it when they do that.
That's terrible.
It's been in development since with Danny and Michael Philippou returning as co-directors, and Danny and Bill Hinsman returning as the screenwriters. That's it as far as where we are at this point. There has been no further updates, but it still is listed as an upcoming project for the Philippou brothers. No idea what the plans are. From what I could tell, there wasn't even any updates as far as casting or anything. So I think it's just something that they're just still developing.
It's all Mia's world in the afterlife. We just get to see her answering calls at parties.
She's like, oh, I just sat down.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Right.
I will say that I was, for anybody who read that Bring Her Back was ever intended to be a sequel, it was not. It is not. But it is in the same universe, apparently, that the Philippous believe that these stories happened on the same planet, country, and that's even more messed up. Like, this is a horrible world that they live in. The Philippou cinematic universe is horrible, and, maybe don't go to their hospitals.
Well, I mean, it's like the Stephen King universe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad stuff that happens in that.
A lot of bad stuff happens in Derry, y'all.
And it's all in Maine.
Yep.
Like, don't go to Maine if you're in Stephen King's universe.
All right.
Or Colorado.
How to do an award season?
This one did well for itself. It had lots of award nominations and wins. At the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts Awards, the ACTAs, it won Best Film, Best Direction. Wilde won Best Lead Actress. It won Best Screenplay, Best Editing, Best Original Score, Best Sound, Best Hair and Makeup. Major success. Tarakis was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but lost to Hugo Weaving in The Rooster, and Jensen was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but lost to Deborah Mailman in The New Boy. The New Boy also beat it for Best Cinematography. At the Australian Film Critics Association Awards, it was nominated for Best Film, but lost to Of an Age. Same thing, Best Director, lost to Goran Stolevski for Of an Age. Wilde again won Best Actress. Bird was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but lost to Rob Collins in Limbo. Miranda Otto was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but lost to Deborah Mailman in The New Boy. It lost Best Screenplay to Of an Age and Best Cinematography to The New Boy. Over here in the States, over at the Saturn Awards, it won Best Horror Film. Wilde, this was weird. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Supporting Actress? Are you kidding me? She is the movie. Why would you put her in Best Supporting Actress? Makes no sense to me. She lost to Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. And Best Direction, it was nominated but lost to James Cameron for Avatar, The Way of Water. Then, of course, we have the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, nominated for Best Director but lost to Lee Cronin for Evil Dead Rise. Wilde was nominated for Best Lead Performance but lost to David Dastmalchian in Late Night with the Devil. Best Makeup Effects nominated but lost to Evil Dead Rise. Best Screenplay lost to Late Night with the Devil. Best Supporting Performance, Bird, lost to Alyssa Sutherland in Evil Dead Rise. And last but not least, Best Wide Release Film, lost to Godzilla -1. Interesting spread of the movies that they're up against.
It is a really interesting spread, and I think the biggest win in all of these awards is that they're in conversation with movies like Late Night with the Devil and Godzilla -1 and Oppenheimer and Avatar,
and,
right? Like
and
these,
Evil Dead Rise. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just really, it's really neat to see these guys sort of transcend a lot of noise to be in that conversation.
And to do so well at the Australian Oscars. Like, crazy for a horror film to just take such a lead.
How to do at the box office. Australia has numbers, right?
Sometimes they do. For the Philippous debut horror, they had a budget of $4.5 million, or $4.8 million in today's dollars. The movie debuted October 30th, 2022 at the Adelaide Film Festival in Australia, then was released in Australia July 27th, 2023, and the US July 28th, 2023, where it opened opposite Haunted Mansion and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. This landed in 6th, partially because nothing could break the number 1, number 2 hold by Barbenheimer. This went on to earn $48.3 million domestically and $43.6 million internationally for a total gross of $94.7 million in today's dollars, making it A24's highest grossing horror film. That lands the film with an adjusted profit per finished minute of just under $950,000 and earned back more than 20 times its budget. All told, that's an incredibly strong debut for these brothers.
It is an incredibly strong debut for anyone. My God. What a fantastic play. I think it's a great movie. I kind of low-key love that its rules are fuzzy and that the lessons we learn are lessons for us to interpret. It just is. There's a lot of meat on these bones, and I'm so glad it's on the list. And they're about guarantee that at some point we're going to be talking about Bring Her Back.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Dental trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times. Yeah, I really enjoy this film. I always kind of struggle a little bit with some of my questions that I have at the end, but largely it delivers a great story while actually genuinely taking on grief, addiction, peer pressure, some real issues in an honest way. So definitely enjoy this one.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for our conversation about Talk to Me, and that is a wrap on season 15. We will be taking the month of July off, then returning August 6th to kick off season 16 with a brand new series, Platformed Lives, where we look at people whose existence has been shaped, sold, or surveilled by the systems built around them. We are starting with Peter Weir's 1998 film, The Truman Show, in which a man slowly discovers that his entire life has been a television program, and everyone around him has been in on it from the start. It should be a great start to a great season. And remember, members get all episodes a week early for all 5 shows in the Next Reel family of film shows, not to mention member bonus content for some of them. Learn more at TruStory.fm/join. That's TRUSTORY.fm/join. And now, let's do our ratings.
Letterboxd.com/The Next Reel. That's where you can find our HQ page where we log all the reviews and ratings for the movies we watch across the Next Reel family of film shows. Andy, what are you gonna do?
I do really, really enjoy this film, but I do always end up having some issues with the end, and that's kind of where I end up sitting with it. Is I struggle a little bit by the time I hit the end, and I'm asking myself, well, why this? Why is that? How did this happen? So for this, I always end up kind of 4 stars and a heart.
I am there too. 4 stars and a heart, and I've always been 4 stars and a heart, and my first log on this was 4 stars and a heart, and it's a great movie. I love watching it, and it's, for some reason, it's just, that's where my heart lands. 4 stars and a heart. Maybe because of, oh boy, I don't even know that I can explain where the stars fall. Maybe now it's that ending that you've cursed me with, that you have talked to me the ending to me, and
I let you in.
You let me in to understand that Riley, Andy, wither Riley.
Yeah, right. Well, that averages out to 4 stars and a heart, which you can find over on our account on Letterboxd at The Next Reel. You can find me there at Soda Creek Film and Pete Wright. So what did you think about Talk to Me? We would love to hear your thoughts. Hop into the Show Talk channel over in our Discord community, where we will be talking about the movie this week.
When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Letterboxd giveth, Andrew.
As Letterboxd always doeth.
I've got one that's more of a, what would you call this? Like, what was the thing that the more you know, da 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 da, on TV? You remember that?
The little interstitial that NBC.
Yeah, a little interstitial learning.
PSA.
Yeah. This is 4 stars. It comes from MJ says, as someone who was born and grew up in South Australia, I can confirm that this is an accurate depiction of what kids there do for fun. Dun 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 dun. What do you got?
The more you know. This is why we haven't had enough cursed parties that we've gone to, Pete, because we don't live in South Australia.
That's truth.
Now we know. And knowing is half the battle. Yo, Joe. There's another one. I've got 4.5 and a heart by Zoe Rose Bryant, one of many, or at least two of Zoe's posts. Zoe says, unfortunately, even after all that, I still want to touch the hand.
Yes, that's good. That's good. It's true. You want to touch the hand.
Yes, you do.
All right. That's fun. Thanks, Letterboxd.